If you work in PR or media relations today, you have an opportunity to do something you didn't have 10 years ago, which is cover your own story. That's the promise of what I call brand journalism. And today, Mindy Mizell from World Vision is going to talk about what she did. Mindy, you have an amazing story, and you won our category in the PR Daily Digital Awards for Best Location-Based Campaign. Now, you were dispatched on behalf of World Vision to the Horn of Africa to essentially be World Vision's media on the spot.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
And I would even say it's not even my story, but the story of others that I get to go and tell. World Vision is unique because we work in nearly 100 countries worldwide and do a lot of child-focused issues and stories. In this unique instance, I was deployed to cover the famine crisis in the Horn of Africa for a few months, and I got to meet many of the children who were suffering from the drought crisis. And it was those stories that I was able to talk about and to share that really, I think, opened the eyes of so many people. One of the things that was probably innovative and just new for this type of response was incorporating social media into our disaster and emergency response. And really what we found is that social media really is able to give voices to the voiceless. And that's something that I think is very much needed. I know social media enables us many times who have Facebook or Twitter to be able to tell what's happening in our lives, but for those who live in other countries and don't have access to social media, their stories are often going untold. But this kind of blew it up.
They're invisible in a sense.
Exactly. They're invisible, they're not seen, and they don't even know what Facebook or Twitter are. But to get out there and use these channels in such a way that is able to tell the stories of children that really do need their voices heard, which is so empowering.
Give us an example of some of the stories you covered for World Vision.
Yeah, thanks for asking too, because there were two children who really probably not only changed my life, but probably changed the lives of so many people because I got to share those stories. The first child was a 13-year-old boy who I met in one of the refugee camps. It was in Dadaab, which is considered the world's largest refugee camp on the border of Kenya and Somalia. We had nearly 1 million refugees who had fled to that camp, and World Vision was there responding and talking to many of the children and families to find out what they needed. I arrived with a flip camera, a little lavalier mic, and started to just do interviews on the fly. And I hopped out of the car. There was a professional news team kind of next to me, and I could see them setting up and looking for the specific answers.
And there you are with your little camera.
I'm just there with my little camera, and I just hopped out and I said, "Can I talk to you?" And most of the children don't speak English, so really I had to get creative in trying to find at least a child I could communicate with. And I found a little boy who spoke English flawlessly, and he was more than excited to share his story. And one of the things I asked him was simply, how can we help you? What is it that you need? And I think what journalists typically do is you go in kind of thinking you know the answers, and so you would expect them to say, we need food, we need water, those kind of answers. But what I realized in being able to take these kind of tools straight to the front lines and talk to children and hear their own voices unedited, they were telling me that they just wanted education. They weren't talking about food or water, even though that was something they probably still did need. But what was most important to this little boy was he wanted to still go to school. And he was telling me that was his biggest concern. He had fled Somalia, he had been doing well in school, now he gets to this camp and he's like, I just want to go to school. And I was able to tell his story in a way that was more in the full context of what he was going through. And yes, we come alongside in providing the essentials that they need, but children like this little boy, to be able to hear his heart and that he wants to even go one step further than just the basics and actually have an education, that's the kind of story I love to go tell.
Now, where did you post that?
Well, we posted it on Facebook, and it was a social media channel that we hadn't existed when we deployed. We didn't know where to kind of put this content because with World Vision, we have Facebook channels in many different countries. So what we did was we created one that was an emergency response Facebook page that we created so that we could share it with many of our support offices around the world. And by doing that, our offices knew that they could get content kind of as a one-stop shop right off of this page. Then we also developed a blog because what we realized is that it was very challenging to communicate with so many of our offices where content was located. So we created a blog that almost served as kind of that one-stop shop for all the different channels. So we posted blog content, we posted news clips, we posted Facebook clips that we've done. We linked out to the Twitter feed that we had created, and it was fascinating to hear the feedback from many of our donors who were watching these in almost real time within just a matter of hours of these stories being posted, and hearing just how responsive they were and wanting to help out in our disaster response.
Thank you for coming today. It's been really interesting, and good luck.
Thanks for having us.